fans all over the world. It's your boy Mac the Giants fan here with my guys, Losman, Adam Costas, Zion Zenner. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go.
Boom!
So
Back at it in
about
your
music.
life on a Friday afternoon. Thank you for that great intro, Mac. I'm your host for today, Zion Zenith. As he said, that's Adam Costas, and he is Mac the Giants fan. And boy, do we have a heavy show for you guys today. A little bit lighter, a little bit shorter show. It's going to be kind of like a special. We're basically going to be talking about our team, the New York Football Giants, that made a big move that you guys probably heard about on the on Monday, and you guys probably talked about a little bit. If you guys tune into the NFC East Roundup, make sure you guys do. That's why Mac the Giants fan and Adam Costas breaks down the NFC East every week on Wednesday. They probably covered it a little bit there, but we're going to talk about it here. But before we get into that, a couple of announcements. The major announcement that basically I want to cover is the changes in the show. After this episode, this is probably going to be our last recorded live episode. We're probably going to be moving it to a recorded episode and uploaded at a Pacific time. As we decide on what day and what time we should upload it, we'll definitely catch you guys. So make sure you guys are subscribed to Mac the Giants fan, Adam Costas, and myself on Twitter. As soon as we figure out a day, we'll for sure drop the news there, and it'll be probably in the next 2 weeks where the shows will be started to go recorded based. Now, it doesn't mean that you guys can't still participate. We are going to have a comment section where we're going to read your guys' comments. So make sure you guys are tuned in, and we're probably going to premiere it. So if one of us or all three of us is not busy and at the time of it premieres, we'll basically be in the chat, and then that'll give us a time to talk to you guys as well. Other news just broke. I don't know if you guys been following it, but ESPN and Disney had come to the agreement with YouTube TV. So basically, Disney, the parent company of ESPN, a whole little debacle about the price that YouTube TV was going to charge for the membership. Disney was trying to raise the price. YouTube was like, no, we don't want to raise our subscribers. We don't want that to fall on the subscribers. We like the price point that we're paying right now for our YouTube TV. So for the past, I believe 3 weeks, you couldn't watch Monday Night Football. You couldn't watch ABC. You couldn't watch anything on YouTube TV, and you only could get those games on Hulu. In response, YouTube TV took away all the Disney channels. So it was a little bit of a streaming service battle, but that has been resolved. And if anything, we, the fans, really lose out of it all. I'm glad that it got resolved, and us fans are the ones that reap and that sow the benefits when this kind of shit happens. When it comes to, business, money is going to be money. The world operates on money, so obviously we understand why. But fuck, if this happened in the middle of fucking April, no one would give a fuck. But the fact is, in the middle of football season and your subscribers to YouTube TV can't get ESPN, that's problems. I'm glad that did get resolved. What's up, Holy Bacon 5063? Thank you so much for being here, my friend. David Rodriguez, thank you as well. And then Joe Ferris, Premium Takes, no bullshit. Absolutely. A lot has been going on in the world of basketball, guys, that I do want to cover, but we're gonna move that later on down the line. As the season gets deeper, we're gonna focus mainly on the New York Giants and the firing of Brian Daboll. But before we go into that, Adam brought up a good point that we want to start today's off. So we've seen. I'm gonna set the stage, and I'm gonna let Adam take over. We've seen Brian Daboll get canned on Monday, and I'm a big believer that it should have been a paired package. Now that Brian Daboll has gotten fired and Joe Shane remained, I'm gonna pose the question, and I'll let Adam set up his question as well, being that this is his segment. Do you think that was the right move, guys? Go right ahead, Adam.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a bone to pick. The New York Giants obviously fired their head coach, right? They gave the assistant manager or the assistant head coach the job, promoted him to head coach. That's why they brought in Mike Kafka. That's why they kept him. Well, the Giants also brought in an assistant GM. Not many other teams have assistant GMs. So you bring an assistant GM, what is he there for? To, twiddle his thumbs? So clearly Joe Shane hasn't done a great job with his roster. And I know a lot of people are only looking at the present of what Joe Shane has done. And sure, he's gotten Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors and signed Thomas and Dexter Lawrence. He also drafted Josh Azudu. He also signed Daniel Jones, one of the worst contracts in the history of the NFL at the time. Right. And we also lost out on guys like Barkley and McKinney because of his stubbornness and lack of flexibility and his pure reputation across the league. So with that being said, you decide to keep Joe Schoen and not give a chance to audition a man who's gotten jobs or damn near gotten jobs across the league in Brandon Brown. Brandon Brown has interviewed for jobs across the league as a top candidate in this league. And you say, and you brought out to the public that, hey, Mike Kafka has a chance at winning this job if things go right for him, right? He has a chance to audition these next 7 games. I don't want him as coach. I don't think he's going to be head coach next year, but they're going to audition him. Why not do the same for your general manager? You brought an assistant general manager for things like this to happen. You obviously knew that Dable was not getting it done. Dable was brought in by who? Joe Schoen. So if Joe Schoen brings in Brian Dable and you fire Brian Dable, but you want to keep Joe Schoen and not really give him any power because you basically told Joe Schoen that you're firing Brian Dable. You didn't even give him the satisfaction of doing it himself. You did it behind his back. So that tells me, what are you doing? And then the reports are coming out, well, he's looking at, he's possibly being evaluated for his job. He's being evaluated now? He's being evaluated these last 7 games. What about the last 3.5 years? Or are we just going to forget about them because all of a sudden his head coach gets fired? No, what you should have done, John Mara, is you should have given the guy, a young up-and-coming executive sitting on your board right now, and Brandon Brown, and say, you know what, Brandon, let's give you an opportunity these last 7 games to see what you may come up with or what you may find. And if you do that, then maybe you can have the job later on. We can talk about it and discuss it. Right. And let's be honest, you're not really doing much as a GM these last 7 games, but he would at least have a shot to run the team, run the day-to-day operations, see how the team runs, at least a good sample size so that if you're like, you know what, we got our GM in house, we can keep him and keep moving on. Instead, you keep a guy who's a bumbling idiot across the league, who looks like a little weasel when he talks. All right, who had done dumb deal after dumb deal after dumb deal, who's picked low-hanging fruit and we're giving him credit for. You, me, and the whole world could have picked Malik Neighbors or Abdul Carter. So as much as we give him credit for that, this was an opportunity for John Mara, and I think he dropped the ball here. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I like to begin by just saying this. I honestly think this last draft class probably saved his job. You see what he did in free agency. I'm not even going to say the draft class. I'm going to just say this last year. For me, I have a love and hate relationship with Joe Schoen, and it's mostly 60% hate, 40% love. I think that Barkley trade shouldn't have never happened. And if it is going to happen, make sure you get compensation for him. Make sure you trade him and get something back for him. I don't think McKinley shouldn't have left. There's a lot of players that left this team. Julian Love is another name that I can bring up that I kind of questioned him for. But at the end of the day, you look at his last draft class and last year bringing in Holland, bringing in Adebo, and majority can say Holland wasn't really like he was at Miami, but Holland did play some good football this year before he got hurt. Adebo, not so much, but he did have some good moments. But when I look at Cam Scatterbo, when I look at Marcus Mabo, when I look at Fedoni, even though Fedoni hasn't even taken a few snaps on the regular football field yet, when I look at him and I see someone that just looks that just plays tough, and then you have the main guy at the helm in Jackson Dort, right? And you mentioned Abdul Carter. I kind of think with ownership, with Mera and the Tisch families, I honestly think that alone kind of let them save his job. Now, what I would have done is let him go because there was a ton of not free, but there's a ton of wide receivers you could have gone and trade for. And this guy is bringing people that I have to literally look up on Google that doesn't even have a Wikipedia page yet. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? But so there's a lot of questions that I didn't really necessarily like. Trade deadline comes and passes, and he doesn't make any significant move to better this roster. As much as I wanted Brian Dable out of the building, I'm not going to make an excuse about him, but it's like, how the fuck is this guy going to coach when literally his starting everything is gone? You know what I'm saying? But it is a good move to get rid of Brian Dable. We're gonna touch on the coaches. I'd like to see Max point on Brian Joe Shane's. And I honestly to wrap my point up, I think Brandon Brown is the smartest exec in that building, and I'm right on with you, Adam. I honestly think they should have fired Joe Shane and promoted Brandon Brown. That's a move I wanted to happen before last season. Even when that Hard Knocks episode came out and Brandon Brown is fucking sitting there, and I'm like, oh my god, that guy looks like he's really running the fucking team, and Joe Shane is just look. I'm Joe Shane. No one's gonna value a running back. Yes, they do, and that now is a Super Bowl winning running back, mind you. Go right ahead, Mac.
Well, I just have a hate relationship with Joe Shane. I have no love for that man. I'm not going to pretend to have any love for him at all. I mean, he's just fumbled at every aspect of this job. I feel like Adam just said, anybody could have picked Malik Neighbors, Abdul Carter. I mean, talent like that. Okay, gee, you're not getting a cookie for picking guys like that. You're not going to get a pat on the back. Say, oh yeah, you got Malik Neighbors. Come on, give me a break. That didn't take much effort or much any kind of knowledge. Joe Shane. I'm almost glad that he didn't bring anybody else into the trade deadline, or so to speak, just because I feel like his eye for talent, football talent, is so bad that it would have just probably been some more bums anyway, that he would have overpaid or something stupid, because that's all he's been doing his entire tenure here is making stupid decisions. After stupid decisions, his personnel decisions have been absolutely god awful. But at the same time, you also go the other way and be like, look, while we got Evan Neal, Jalen Hyatt, Deontay Banks, guys like that we could have at least maybe traded off and got some kind of draft capital for, you did nothing. He did absolutely nothing. And we're just sitting here like, in the case of Evan Neal, he hasn't played at all. Jalen Hyatt's barely played. Deontay Banks is only playing by default. I mean, because he kind of has to now, because with the Adebo injury and the other injuries and we've had in the secondary. So this Shane is a bumbling idiot. Like you said, to go back to I don't want to keep harping on the Hard Knocks, but he made himself look like a fool on that show. And even with John Mayer, like, how do you fire Brian Daboll, but you keep Joe Shane, when clearly even on the Hard Knocks show, I mean, it felt like Brian Daboll, for what it's worth, to give him a little bit of credit, had a better grasp on, what would be good personnel for this football team as opposed to Joe Shane. I mean, I still remember the question when it was asked, would you trade up to get Jaden Daniels? And he was like, in a New York minute, you know what I mean? Wouldn't even think twice about it, you know what I mean? Like, whereas Joe Shane, you're sitting here fumbling around with a franchise running back that you don't want to pay a few more million to than what you that like he didn't deserve that or didn't earn that. Like Adam, like you said earlier on the show Adam, like Saquon Barkley at least earned his due, man. At that number 2 overall pick, he lived up to that value as a running back. I mean, sure, people can try to harp on a couple of the injuries he's had, but he was always a productive player when he was on the field for the most part, and he was clearly the best, the heart and soul of this team for the better part of 4 or 5 years at least. He was the flat out heart and soul of this football team. He was the only thing that made this football team watchable, for a long time period. And the fact that you chose to sign a quarterback that's, man, sure, he's having a pretty good year this season down there in Rapids, hats off to him, but a quarterback that clearly wasn't working out here, and you let your franchise running back go without getting any value for him whatsoever. At the very least, you could have traded him off and could have got some real value for him, because he was a hot commodity. You could have got a first-round pick for Saquon Barkley from the right team, potentially. You know what I mean? You did nothing. You let him walk out the door for absolutely free, scot-free, and then he goes and signs with the damn division rivals right down the turnpike. Like, these are the kind of things that have been failures in Joe Shane. I mean, like Xavier McKinney, Julian Love, guy touched on earlier. I get it, you can't sign everybody, but you didn't even, the fact that you didn't want able to retain any of these guys at all, and you watching them all go and just do their thing elsewhere, it's hard. It's hard as a Giants, hard pill to swallow as a Giants fan, especially when you watch what we're looking at on the field right now, at this team so depleted of talent, and we're watching these guys that were once here in the building just flourish elsewhere. It's frustrating for me, and I feel like there's no reason why Joe Shane shouldn't have been shown the door right on Monday morning. That's just the same way Brian Daboll was. You're right. Brandon Brown deserves that opportunity, man. He's been working his ass off over the course of the last few years. And then let him work, let him see what he can do, man. And then look, if it doesn't work out and you want to move on and get somebody fresh in the building, then so be it. But give the man a chance. What do you want? Bring somebody else in and say, Brandon, you want to stick around and be assistant GM still? Like, what the hell is that?
Right.
Like,
I think
so.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're good. I'm good. I was going. I was rambling anyway at this point.
No,
That was a great take. Go ahead, Adam.
You touched on something that was interesting. I do believe you were talking about, the Barkley thing, and what we forget about is this is not a 1-year blunder. You had a chance to franchise tag him and sign him but you went with the quarterback. So not only did you have a career with the franchise tag, you underestimated the market, and then as you underestimated the market, you let him walk away because you were too busy being spiteful on them not paying a running back because you put a value on it. And then you go and sign a running back at the same damn near dollar amount in Devin Singletary. To me, it's a dereliction of duty for him to fumble these negotiations up badly. I mean, the first time he tried to give them money, Barkley in 2002 during the bye week, Barkley golfed at it. He said, I don't like that money. I'm better than that. Right. Then again, he comes and they want to negotiate, and they're like, you know what? We're giving you the franchise deal. They signed a 1-year deal, gave him an extra bump of money. Why'd you do that if you didn't like him? You gave him an extra bump of money. He had a solid season in 2023, but everybody stunk. Then when it comes to 2024 and you need to sign him, you decide, oh, well, you know what, aging running backs and putting these brackets on everything. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry gets paid, and a lot of these other guys, Josh Jacobs gets paid, right? And look how critical those two backs are to their team and what they meant. Look at Jonathan Taylor right now. Daniel Jones is nothing without that guy. He's got a reincarnation of a healthy Barkley back there. That's why he's doing well, because when Daniel did well, he did well when he had a running back that was all-world in Saquon Barkley in 2022. And now he's doing the same thing with another all-world running back. So the fact that you misplayed this whole Barkley thing, you didn't understand and appreciate his value to the team, right? And his overall value to the fan base who bought jerseys and really supported this guy, you flubbed it up. And I've heard negotiations about Julian Love and other things like that, the McKinney thing. He wanted to be here. These guys wanted to be here. And all they were asking for is to be paid, compensated pretty well. Those guys are now playing above their contracts, technically. Okay? McKinney is being paid as the best safety in the league. Guess what? He is one of the best safeties in the league. Okay? So, sure, he wanted that money. Guess what? That money is now going to look cheaper because, the market's going to inflate. So now you look like a genius having McKinney on the roster and not having Tyler Nubin fucking sucks. So what do? Instead of going out and getting another player, you hire Tyler Nubin and you sign Javon Holland, right, to try to make up for your mess and your fuck up. You signed Paulson Adebo to basically pair with Deontay Banks, but your third-round pick is doing better than your first-round pick. And then let's not talk about the Azudus, the McKeithans, the Darian Beavers of the world, these guys that we forget about because, they don't count. I was on a space before and they were arguing with me about, Joe Shane, the fourth, fifth, and sixth rounders don't count. They absolutely do, because that's the heart and soul of your friggin' team. Those are the guys that build out your special teams. Those are the guys that are your backups that are coming up. Like, how many times do we bang the table to see Thomas Fidone, right? 7th-round pick, he got drafted. And yet we're not doing that. We're not elevating him. We're seeing other guys get burned in a lost season. Like, this is the time to evaluate these guys. And I feel like you're giving Joe Shane a reprieve, and these last 7 weeks shouldn't determine his fate because he stinks. If it's going to take you 7 weeks to come to the realization that some people may not want to work with him, some of these candidates that you might want to bring in, or that he's going to look like a puss because he won't have any fucking – you remember the last years of Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge? They're in the draft room literally looking at each other like they hate each other's guts. Like they hate each other's fucking guts. In the draft room in 2020.
I honestly, I agree with you, and I honestly think, like you said earlier in the show, I honestly think it is gonna come down to the coach. If the coach does wanna work with Joe, I honestly think Joe Shane doesn't really have that big of a say. I honestly think the New York Giants, they're gonna interview a handful of coaches, and I honestly think that one of those coaches if hired, a veteran coach, if hired, is gonna probably say yes or no on Joe Shane. I honestly, we all agree that he should have left the building the same time as Joe Shane. I'm sorry, the same time as Ryan Dable, but it is what it is. Anything else you want to say on the topic before you move on, Adam?
Yes, just why are you going to let a guy like Brandon Brown possibly walk out the building without giving him a shot, right? Without giving him a legitimate shot and saying, you know what, the guy in front of you hasn't done well in 4 years. He hasn't produced anything. Sure, yeah, first overall picks, Neal, all this stuff, but they don't play. Then Jalen Hyatt barely seeing the field. You're basically putting Russell Wilson out there and putting your power in over your coach, who basically wants to start Jackson Dart, who he saw, and you have to trust the coach. That's what I said to Mac when we were doing these shows. And I was arguing for Jackson Dart, even when we were doing these shows. I said, I got to trust Brian Dable believes that he's seeing the quarterback that gives him the best chance to win, which was Jackson Dart, which Joe Shane did not allow him to play Jackson Dart because of Russell Wilson. So you made that choice. That guy stinks too. You need to put that on him. I want to see a new executive for the last 7 weeks to get a legit shot, because if he walks out the building, Brandon Brown, and goes to a team like Atlanta or one of these other teams that are going to need a GM, and he ends up doing well, and we're sitting here on our hands, sitting here fussing around with Joe Shane, still meandering around player after player, I'm going to be friggin' livid.
Well said, well said. Alrighty, guys. So yes, that is the news on the GM. I think we all agree that Brandon Brown should have been promoted. But we diverse. That being said, speaking of Brian Dable, word on the street. I don't even want to open up this topic. I'm just gonna announce the news. We get you guys' thoughts on that. Word on the street is high quality candidate for Penn State. He was seen leaving his house with a Penn State hoodie on. Obviously, his kids go to Penn State. Obviously, Penn State fans are really, I don't know, like, what is that word when they're like, they want him, like they're, I slip in my mind, but basically they're canvassing for him. I honestly think that's a great move by Penn State. If you go and you grab someone like Brian Dable, yes, I don't like what he did with the Giants, but I still do think that this guy can give a lot for football. And I think that's a great move by Penn State. What's up, Mystery? Thank you so much for being here. Go right ahead, Mac. Fast take, Brian Dable, Penn State, love it, hate it, yes, no. What do you think?
I mean,
care less.
I could really care less, honestly. I mean, hats off to him. You go get a job. It's a good coveted, college job, a good history legacy there. Maybe he can get his head coaching, build his head coaching chops back up at the college ranks. I just think right now he was in over his head here, man. It just wasn't working out. Whatever he was selling, these players weren't buying it. Maybe he can get, and maybe his methods, some of his methods, from the way I hear somebody on his methodology, the way he speaks to the players, that'll probably translate a little better in college, than at this pro level anyway. That could have a lot to do with some of the issues that Brian Dable had here with the New York Giants. Things I've heard. Now, after the guy gets fired, all of a sudden, all dirt comes out, all the tea gets spilled, and you just hear all these different random things, all these different blow-ups and whatnot he's had. And so, like, maybe he just needs to kind of find himself a little bit. So, good luck to him if that works out. A man got a family to feed, man. All that kids. Ray got a lot of kids. You got a lot of kids. You got a family to feed. So you got to take care of the family.
You know what, Mac?
I'm not saying I wish for the guy to be unemployed forever. Just go find some work. Whatever it is.
Yeah, and you know what, Mac? Before I let Adam go, the guy is well respected around the league, football, not only NFL but also college. And for people who played with him since his days at Alabama, they really respect Brian Dable, and a lot of the media. He has, I don't know why, but he has a lot of respect for the media. I would love to see him at Penn State. Go right ahead, Adam. Love it, hate it. Who cares? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it makes you wonder if he understood that he had a job lined up. Remember last time he, was smiling off the Philadelphia field because he knew that he had another chance at the job next year. This year, he's fired mid-season, and you wonder why he didn't just, A, fight for his job, and then B, fire his defensive coordinator, because he could say, well, what if I fire, Shane Bowen? I got to keep my job. I know it's a lost cause. He's probably getting fired anyways at the end of the season, but this is something that normally doesn't happen in Giant universe. So the fact that he's, already at Penn State. I don't know if it's official or if he's just visiting there.
Not official. It's just being talked about.
But if he does get a job there in college, maybe it works out for him better. And he'll have to do a lot of explaining with Lake Martindale and like what went on and, were you sabotaged? And it just makes you wonder, like, maybe this is the best thing for him because once all this dirt comes out and Penn State's not in a rush to get a coach right now, right? They still have time. They're in the middle of their season. They could figure out a lot of things. They could say, you know what, Brian, we want to get the job, but we're just going to ride this season out. Or, if they have a bowl game or there's the off season coming up because in November their seasons end if they don't make a bowl berth, right? Maybe they hire him in December and say, hey, it's your job. And I think that's maybe where he can go rehab his career a little bit, because of the NIL and because of a lot of these programs growing, a lot of these coaches are going to have platforms to go back to and make successful programs out of these college programs. And then you'll have more of a pool to pick from when you're going back into the pro ranks, right? So I think if he gets a chance, good for him. But I'm after this, I won't know where Brian Dable is until he signs with another team or I Google him at some point down the road.
Well said. And I'm just high on the news because obviously I'm a big SC fan and Penn State is in our conference as the Big Ten. And I want to see Michigan versus Penn State. You know how lit that'll be? Like you get Brian Dable's offense versus not Bill Belichick's Rent Mortendale's defense after that shit handled. Oh, that'll be fun to watch. And I think that'll be a fire move for him for his football career. But obviously, I'm excited for the future of the Giants. A few things we want to mention. As you down below, as you see, I mentioned 15 coaches. Now, all of those coaches, they're not in order. Obviously, they're just a handful of coaches. I just came up with 15 names that I could see coaching the Giants, and I think we talk about them. Let's start with the interim coach right now. Mike Kafka got promoted to Giants interim head coach. And before we talk about him, I'm going to give a special shout out to Tim Kelly. This is a guy that basically been an offensive coordinator at Houston Texans before he was offensive coordinator at the Tennessee Titans, before he became the New York Giants tight ends coach. He got promoted again to the offensive coordinator. So shout out to Tim Kelly. I don't really see him being our offense coordinator for the future, but at least for the season, he's going to be helping Kafka develop a game plan, and hopefully we can win out some games. Obviously, they can't control the defensive side of the ball, and Shane Bowen, is still in the fucking building. So I don't know how that's gonna look like, but at least I know for the offensive side of the ball, I think we'll be good. What's up, Alex? Thank you so much for being here. The reason why I say I think we'll be good because I like Kafka. He's calm, he's cool, he's collective. Listening to his press conference, I respect the guy. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that basically been around football his entire life, ex-player. This is the guy that doesn't it doesn't look like it's going to be too much for him. Now, will he be a regular head coach? That's probably not going to happen. The only way that's probably going to happen is if he fucking does some kind of miracle shit and he does win out and the Giants go 9-8 and okay, that fucking happens. I don't even care if they give you the fucking job. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be a fan, but that's going to be horrid. But what I do like about him is he was calling the offensive plays this whole season. And we've seen this offense put up 30 points multiple times. Did we win those games? No, but we can score and he can move the ball. And I just think him calling the plays, I don't think it's going to be too much for him. I don't really want to touch on Mike Kafka too much. I'm just going to give my take for him. If he wins out 9-8, that's the only way. 8-8, 9-8. That's the only way that I'll even consider him of being a head coach because I do truly believe that there's a lot of veterans out there, as you guys can see below, that we're going to talk about that can turn this ship fucking around. I know you guys covered him a little bit on the NFC East Roundup. Get a minute each. Go right ahead, Adam. Mike Kafka, what do you think about him?
I think he's part of the problem. We act like he wasn't calling plays under Brian Dable. Brian Dable clearly gave up play calling this year, right? The offense is not the issue. The offense is not the issue. The defense is the issue. And so, to me, if you fire a coach, just let him go. I mean, I hope he does well for his next job or next gig, wherever that may be, Mike Kafka. But to me, I don't think he should be the head coach of the New York Giants. I mean, I think they need a stronger personality in this room. I think they just need to clean house in general. If you fire the head man, why not everybody else? Now, I would let the next coach, if Tim Kelly happens to call plays better. I mean, Tim Kelly's not even calling plays, so he doesn't even get a chance to showcase anything.
He's just gonna have the title, exactly.
Right. So it's not even like you're giving a fair shake to call plays to get a job with the next coaching staff that comes in and you can go, hey, look, Tim Kelly made these calls. So I know I went over my time, but Mike Kafka is a thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down for Adam. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty much a thumbs down for me as well. But like I said, at the same time, I'm also a realist. If somehow this team was to somehow run the table and look very good doing it, and it was like, I mean, it has to be something just so extraordinary that that it cannot be denied to retain him, that it's undeniable that you need to retain him. Then no, I mean, he's part of, like Adam just said, he's part of a problem, man. He's part of what's been the problem with this football team, and he's been a part of this. Like I said earlier, guilty by association. So be it, man. This is the way it is. Because even if we won, okay, hypothetically, we run the table and go 9-8, which ain't gonna happen. But if we did, we're still not gonna make the playoffs because the way things are aligning right now in the NFC, especially in the NFC right now, there's gonna be probably a couple of 10-win teams maybe they're going to end up missing out of the postseason. So 9-8 ain't going to get it done. So the reality is, if he was able to, like I said, have this team run the table, look so great, look impressive doing it, then okay, there's a conversation to be had for sure. But I really don't want any parts of it, man. I got, like Adam said, clean slate, man. Move on from this entire regime.
I just want to counter that point you made. Because I don't care if he runs the table. Look at the class of coaches that's coming out. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, you ran the table, great job. When I have a chance at McCarthy or somebody that I deem could be better, right? Like the Giants do that too much where they're like, oh, let's get the guy. If you have a better candidate coming in and getting the job, this team needs to be, I think.
I'm saying is, it's not even my fault. Let me clarify what I said. Because it's not even just about running the table. I said, look, impressive running the table. Something that is so undeniable that you just got to give him a legitimate look. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about even just winning the football game. I'm talking about it has to be something where, like, he has his team looking more disciplined than we've ever seen, more everything, like everything locked and loaded, where it's just something where you can't gloss over it. And you got to be like, well, damn, Kafka really got this team straightened out, man. Like they ran the table undefeated the second back half of the season, like just railroading people. Like when it's something I'm talking about, it would have to be something to that level. I don't think it's going to be, so I don't think it's something to worry about. I agree. I don't want any parts of it. But I mean, if it was something so extraordinary that you just can't look over, that's what I'm talking about.
And I'm
not talking about just winning all the games.
And I'm looking at it like this. This may be the only opportunity that the Giants have at these coaches that might be on this list, whether you like it or not, whether it's Gruden, Tomlin, whomever the case may be, right? Even if it's extraordinary, if the coaching pool this year was low, right, and didn't have as many names coming out, I would agree with you. Even if he went 7-10, I could be like, you know what, let's give him another chance because the coaching pool this year isn't as deep and may not be that many. But because you have guys that are on the cusp of being fired or there's rumors about them being fired. Hell, LaFleur could be fired if they like that guy Halfley, who is a guy you should be mentioning on this list, right? Or if Halfley gets a job with Green Bay, now LaFleur becomes better. I would definitely want LaFleur over Mike Kafka. So to me, while I'm not necessarily disagreeing with what you're saying, and I understand your point, I'm just saying even for me, extraordinary is not the line. To me, I got to see who the talent candidates are out there and really consider, am I making the right decision for the New York Football Giants by not trying to get one of these guys that may break loose like a Harbaugh, Tomlin, whomever, like that.
Well said. And I don't want to take a whole 10 minutes talking about Kafka. We have a lot of coaches to get to, and well said, guys. What up, G Nation? Thank you for joining us. While Mac was speaking, we got Allen Boy in the house. He said Mike McCartney is my number one guy. And to keep it fair, guys, the list is just to separate the names evenly. number 1 and number 15. I got Bill Belichick at 15. It's not in any order. I just put it to separate the list. Those are the 15 candidates that we'll probably be covering today. And then we got Eagles Uncensored in the house. So probably all three of us say no on Mike Kafka. And that's what I like. I like open conversations. I just didn't want to be fully about Mike Kafka. I don't care how long you guys take on John Gruden. It's just that we all can fucking agree that Mike Kafka is probably not going to be our next head coach. Another guy on that list, I'm just going in random, is going to be Todd Monken. Now, Todd Monken, he was with Georgia when they won both national championships back-to-back, and he is currently the Ravens offensive coordinator. Obviously, we all know that we kind of all want a veteran head coach, and Todd Monken will kind of be what we kind of experienced. I'm not saying that. I mean, like look at Ben Johnson. Look at some top candidates that got jobs. You know, I'm not gonna try to compare everybody to the new and improved, offensive system, but I kind of don't want to go down that route because we just fucking been down that route with Brian Dable, and I don't mean to do that to Todd Monken, but I kind of fucking am. Brian Dable won national championships at Alabama before getting his opportunity at the Buffalo Bills, before getting his head coaching job. What's the fucking difference with Todd Monken? Now, I know Todd Monken is so-called the offensive genius, but so the fuck is Brian Dable. So for me personally, I'm going to say no on Todd Monken. I do respect the name. I do know that he's a fucking great – he could be a great head coach. But for the New York Giants, I want more experience. I want someone like we'll talk about later on in the list, like a Steve Spagnuolo, like a fucking Mike Tomlin, John Gruden. Oh my God, give us John Gruden, set this fucking place on fire, blow this shit up, and let John Gruden. And we'll talk about John Gruden when the time comes. So Todd Monken, go right ahead, Adam.
Thumbs down for me, not because I don't respect him, but I just believe the Giants aren't going to go down the naive route. He has no head coaching experience in all of his coaching right now. Some guys, even like Hafley, was a head coach at Boston College. So that, to me, that would check his box on there. So for me, no, he could be somebody else's first-time head coach.
I love it. Go right ahead, Mac.
Ditto. Everything Adam just said, the exact same reason. This team does not need the new hotshot coordinator with no head coaching experience. This team needs somebody that has a proven track record that can lead a football team, not just one side of the football. I think we need proven head coach.
Even if you're in
I
college,
love it.
Works for me.
And G Nation says, bring me a defensive mind. Another candidate on the list that I'm going to let Adam choose the next candidate next, but I'm just going to cover this candidate. I think he deserves to be on the list, but I'm going to say no because I don't think he leaves Notre Dame. Is Marcus Freeman. That's Adam's college team, so Adam knows Marcus Freeman nice and closely when he watches his Notre Dame games. I think Marcus Freeman would be a great head coach in the NFL. I think what he did at Notre Dame was rebuild it and brought them to a national championship appearance. But I just kind of feel that I put Marcus Freeman on this list to respect him. I wouldn't want him as a first-time head coach for the New York Giants. Can we both agree that we don't want Marcus Freeman as our head coach? Or do you guys want to take some time talking about him?
I would want Marcus Freeman as a head coach just because
go right ahead,
he's
Adam.
got head coach. I would Marcus Freeman as a head coach because he has a head coaching experience, right? So he's taking a program and building a program up. Do I think he's going to leave? No, I think he's using this as a money ploy to, extract more money out of Notre Dame, saying, "Hey, I'm going to go to the NFL." But if he is a guy that comes in, I wouldn't mind giving him an interview. And if I'm going to the route, I'm looking for a guy that has head coaching experience, right? I'm not talking about college. I'm not talking about high school. I'm talking about like big program. If you're going, like Lane Kiffin has head coaching experience. He head coached in the NFL, right? This guy, Marcus Freeman, coming from college, he's at a big program. I'd give him a shot. I wouldn't mind him as a coach. I'd put a thumbs up for him.
Thumbs up for Marcus Freeman. Go right ahead, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, he has head coaching experience and all, and I wouldn't be completely opposed to that either. I mean, because it's not the NFL, but he still has experience leading an actual whole, like leading a team. It makes a difference. You know what I mean? A head coach is different. It's levels to this shit. You know what I mean? Like Meek Mill said, it's levels to this shit. And you got to be able to you need a guy that has the proven ability to lead a team. And Marcus Freeman has done a great job at Notre Dame. Adam said, I don't think he's going anywhere, to be quite honest. But the only thing that makes me a little wary of that would be the fact that even though he's had success there at the college level at Notre Dame, does that? It's not the same. The NFL is different. When you're college, you're still coaching kids. The NFL, I mean, young adults, but they're kids still, basically.
Well,
But when you get to the NFL, you're coaching grown ass men with, and this is a job. It's no longer just.
I
They're
think
not no longer.
he can
They're no
lead a
longer
grown
doing
man
it.
though. I do believe
I
that,
mean,
Mac. I do believe that Marcus
that's
Freeman can lead
maybe he
grown men.
can, maybe
Yeah.
he
Well,
can, but
the
I'm
college
just not all the way convinced. So that's my only
college
my,
gets
my only on him.
So I'm not disagreeing with you there,
Great
but because
concern.
college,
That's a great concern to have. Go right ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
to address that concern, he is dealing with college athletes now getting paid, right? So now he has to deal with egos as well and managing that and these young adults going into the league. So while I understand why that made the grown ass man thing, men are going to respect you if you come in and command a room, if you are a leader of men, if you understand the temperament. Every team is going to give you a shot, right? How you treat those men is how they're going to treat you back. And I think because he has head coaching experience and he's leading a big program, he's building from the ground up, I'd love to see him get a chance in here. And it doesn't bother me about the grown man thing because he's dealing with grown men right now. When you deal with money, you are a semi-pro league. You are now a professional league. So you're going to be dealing with agents. You're going to be dealing with recruiting and all that other garbage that goes with it. Right? That's part of his job. So he's going to also have some GMing experience. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to bring in a guy like him with fresh ideas, and he can lead men. Because at the end of the day, a lot of this Giant team is young. So we're not, it's not like we're talking about an age gap like a Pete Carroll, right? Most people want Pete Carroll. Well, he's older. How am I going to let him relate to the other player? So that's my caveat to that. But I understand what Mac's saying.
Well said. These are not all the names on the list down below, but these are some of the names. Adam, to make it kind of easier for you guys, pick one of the names and let's talk about them.
I'm going to go with the guy I've been banging the table for the last few weeks, and that's Cliff Kingsbury. The reason I'll start with him. I know right now he's been under the radar in terms of what he's doing in Washington, but I look at his overall, what he's done. He was a head coach at Texas Tech back in college. He moved up the rank. He also played in the NFL as well. He also had head coaching experience with the Arizona Cardinals. Then he went back to college. Now he's coming back to the NFL. He went back to the NFL for a reason. He could have stayed at college, moved up the ranks, had a gushy life at the college ranks. He decided not to. He decided to come back into the NFL with Jaden Daniels. To me, it was him stepping back into the NFL platform and getting recognized. I think he would work well with the young quarterback in Jackson Dart. I think he's got innovative ideas. I think he's learned his lesson from last time in Arizona. Let's be honest. If you look at the coaches, he's the last coach to bring them to the playoffs since Bruce Arians. Okay. So we may hate on his Arizona tenure right now. The guy that's doing the job right now is not doing a very good job right now. So I think he would be good with his ideas, with Jackson Dart, with Kyler Murray experience. I just think that's the guy I would want. Thumbs up for him for me.
I'm right on with you. I'm double thumbs up in it. I just think Cliff and Dort is magic waiting to happen. Thunder and lightning in a bottle. I just honestly think that Cliff, his air raid system out of what he did at Texas Tech, bringing that over to Arizona, obviously it didn't really work right away, but he was one of the best offensive minds and still is one of the best offensive minds in football. You've seen what he did with Jaden Daniels his first time touching, NFL ball in the NFL. I'm sorry. But that being said, like you look what he did with a rookie. I should have said it that way with Jaden Daniels last year. I just think a year two, Jackson Dort under Cliff as a head coach. He's gonna bring in his guys. That's what this regime kind of needs. I'm at a big point of young and new school, discipline and bringing a guy like a Mike Tomlinson, a Steve Spags, kind of like a front-nosed defensive, disciplined team. But then on the other side of the scale, I would love me a fucking fast-paced air raid fucking offense, looking to take shots down the field. And that's what Cliff runs. I think the only person that runs it better is Lincoln Riley, and I just think Cliff and Jackson equals 30+ points a game for the Giants. Go right ahead, Mac.
Talking about Cliff Kingsbury, I would assume. Cliff Kingsbury, he's a guy intriguing. I mean, offensively, I feel like what he thinks he could maybe do with Jackson Dart could be special. And I'm just not so sure. He's another guy that I'm not so sure about, just only because I don't like to always. I'm about giving second chances and everything, but when I just watched, like, it just wasn't, to me. He strikes me as one of those guys that's coordinator, not head coach. You know what I mean? I just get that vibe from watching him when he had his opportunity as a head coach. Granted, not with a great, good football team, and it's not hard to fail out there. You know what I mean, in Arizona. But at the end of the day, this guy, to me, it's like that Norv Turner effect. You know, Norv Turner always was a great offensive coordinator, but then every time he got any kind of a head coaching opportunity, it just never panned out. It never worked. And I just kind of get those vibes from Cliff Kingsbury, man, where great offensive mind could be great for any good young quarterback, but I'm just not so sold on him as a head coach.
Well said. Well said. Mac, pick a coach off the list. If you need me to bring up the picture, I can bring up the picture again. If you see one that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about, please talk about it.
Let's talk about
There's
Gruden
the
again,
list.
man. Let's talk about John Gruden.
Let's talk about Gruden. Let's go. What's your thoughts on John Gruden? Go ahead, Mac.
Well, I mean, I may be in a small minority here, but I just feel like that's the kind of coach I'm talking about. A guy with a proven track record, a pedigree, a winner, a guy that's done pretty much nothing but win wherever he's been, man. I mean, look, at one point, what the Tampa Bay traded what a first? Did they trade a first round pick to give John Gruden years ago? Like, come on, man, a coach for a head coach. Now I get it. People that can't get the stink of the controversy. I get it. I understand it. I understand what y'all coming from, where people got that. It's a bad taste and it's not a good look. It's not. But let's face it. Do I honestly believe that man's truly just a flat out racist? I don't know. I can't put my finger on that because I watch him work with plenty of minorities, you know, and what he does is day to day. I mean, working with with talent, working with other quarterbacks, working with the other players he's coached over the years. I mean, to me, I don't know enough to know to just flat out call this man a flat out racist. I mean, I get the what you call us on a good look, but the emails weren't a good look. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to lose opportunity on what could be a potentially great head coach coming in here because we're just going to just not let this guy live something down. Yes, it's egregious, but sometimes you got to be able to look past things sometimes, man. Yeah, but he kept that Tampa Bay team good and relevant. And that Raiders team that he left from was also a really good football team. So it's not like he wasn't doing his thing out there with the Raiders, man, before he got traded to Tampa Bay, Lou. That's just what I got for that. I mean, I know you say he kind of inherited Tony Dungy's team, but he did some good things for that football team. And he put them over the top, and he did good things with the Raiders before he got there. So to me, I just think we gotta we can't just always dwell on the past. Like I said, even up this past off season, like I said, we're talking about his little quarterback camp stuff he does. I watched him work with Cam Ward and Shador and stuff like that. Like it's not like he's just like anti working with like minorities and stuff like that. So I just don't. To me, I'm not going there and let that just completely, taint. Maybe like me say, oh no, make him a complete, take him off the table, man. I think John Gruden's exactly the type of hard nosed, and he can run a football team. It's not like he's, like I said, he can run a football team, manage a football team correctly, and he has a pedigree of winning, and that's what this team needs. Somebody that can win.
Well said, Matt. Go ahead, Adam. John Gruden.
I mean, that's unfortunate that Tony Dungy's name doesn't get to be on the Lombardi Trophy where John Gruden's name goes. I mean, as much as it was Tony Dungy's team, he took the team and made it better and put it over the top, right? I mean, I understand what Tampa Bay did, but they were good. They weren't Tony Dungy good. Tony Dungy didn't put him in the Super Bowl. Right now, I get what he built that team and everything like that. I would want John.
Tony Dungy did win another Super Bowl a few years later. Go ahead.
But who his quarterback was No,
Man, the one
he
and
didn't
only.
win the Super Bowl with Brad Johnson at the helm. That booty ass squad of a thing, right? Like he couldn't do that. So he brought if you look at that Tampa Bay team, he brought an island of misfit toys to the Super Bowl. All right, Keenan McCardell, Keyshawn Johnson, like Brad Johnson, a couple of guys. Like they were not the only thing that was Hall of Fame on there was the defense, where you have like 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on that defense, and he built that defense up. And he didn't build that defense up. He coached it up enough and to get them to be the dominant unit that they were that year, right? They were absolutely dominant that year. And he went to the Raiders twice, made that team a winning program. Who knows if the Tuck rule doesn't happen, where the Raiders are, right? Also, he came back, and the last time the Raiders, I think, went to the playoffs, John Gruden was their head coach, right? Even though, he said the emails, he had Derek Carr as his quarterback, and he went to the playoffs with Derek Carr and was very competitive as those teams grew with the Mahomes of the world and everything like that. So would I think he can build a program here? Yes. I mean, is he controversial? I mean, I guess I didn't read the emails, and, at some point, it's not like he murdered somebody. You know what I mean? Like Max said, he's dealt with many employees of minority status. So I don't sit in the room with him. I don't know what he does, right? But all I can tell you is that if he has time and he has autonomy to build a football team, he can do it well. And I don't think it's going to happen, but if he were interested in the job, he should be on your list of candidates to interview. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is what this list is about. I think it's not about it's just about who's available, and as a 5-star organization, we should be looking at John. Now, as far as the racist stuff goes, like Lou brought up, I can't talk about that. Like Adam said, I don't fully know. Obviously, there's a lot of shit in all of our private life that we don't want out there. And if it was out there, that being said, I'll leave it at that. But that being said, though, I do like John Gruden because he knows football. He knows football. I like watching his breakdowns of these matchups every week. I follow his YouTube channel, and I'm gonna admit, John Gruden want me some money. Listening to him and picking with him want me some money. The guy knows football, man. Regardless of what you think about him, he knows football, and I just think it gets this team where we back need to be disciplined. Discipline is back in the fucking building. Hard cut nose practices is back in the building. He's gonna be fucking living on that fine line. Like he's gonna be trying to press, beyond the point, but I'm gonna make the point. Like Japanese squid vessels, that Chinese squid vessels that just hover 2001 miles off the coast of these borders to harvest squid, but they don't pass the border because they're still in international water. That's what John Gruden is. All these fucking practices, they're like, oh, you can't hit no more, or you can't this. John Gruden is gonna push it right up to the line, and then if I was like, you put, what do we got now? We got motherfuckers blowing on each other and shit. Like pause, but practice is not practice no more. When John Gruden practices, it's gonna be fucking practice. These motherfuckers are gonna be tired in warm-ups. That's what this football team needs. Go right ahead, Matt.
Well,
maybe we won't give up 33 points in the fourth quarter.
One just last thing about the whole John Gruden thing, the controversy. So, like I said, look, here's the thing about him. Is there anybody that has anything on true record where they see him out? Like, he's not like going to Klan rallies and shit like that. He's not fucking like, here's the thing. He's guilty of being caught doing something that probably a lot of people do. You know what I mean? Like, and he thought it was something that was never, other people wouldn't, it's not up for everybody's eyes. You know what I mean? But you got to think about the reality of this world. Is when you think nobody else is going to see things, people think nobody else is going to see things, so to speak.
And it was the height of cancel culture. I'm sorry.
But it's just the fact that it's something like this gets blown up when it's somebody like him because he's John Gruden, obviously. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's guilty of of anything that other people don't just do around in the world. I mean, it's just like I said. If he was out with the white hood on, marching at Klan rallies, and or this fucking swastika tattooed on his goddamn shoulder or something like that, or whatever, okay, I get it. I would get. You would obviously, what I mean. That would be a whole different ball game. But I just think you literally. You literally see the man working with if he was truly a racist, and if somebody that's truly a racist, they don't give a damn. They racist, and that's what it is. They're not. You wouldn't have seen him working with like Cam Ward and working with the other African American quarterbacks or any
I
minority
I
quarterbacks.
don't. Yeah,
For that matter, he just
I
would.
don't think
It
that
wouldn't happen.
Dave Portnoy will put his brand Barstool Sports on. That's his brand, and for him to work with John Gruden, for him to be that core financer behind that show on YouTube. And Barstool is a big fucking brand, big in the industry. So I don't think they'll go and risk it. And John Gruden got DraftKings, I believe, as sponsors. And exactly what you said, it was in the height of cancel culture. And I mean, like if John Gruden was a UFC coach, had something to do in the UFC, this shit happens every fucking weekend. I'm not trying to be me. I'm just being honest. The NFL and the fucking the NBA, like the NFL, the no fun league. You know what I'm saying? Like everything gets hype and magnified, and it's almost as if like you got to walk a really fine line when you're dealing with the NFL and all these fines and shit like that. What Cam Scadaboo had to pay $20,000 to 15,000 just to peeking his head into the 10. He didn't go into the 10. He just peeked into the 10. And obviously that's something different. But from $15,000 for that, I can honestly see these emails not being fucking as bad as it's not like he was on the Epstein list flying to fucking these kids. I'm not trying to go there, but you get what I'm saying. Let's move on though. A candidate that I really do like that would probably be equal to John Gruden, if not more. He's my number one choice for head coach. Is Steve. I just think that he's going to go down in history as one of the best defensive coordinators in football. He won multiple championships with two different organizations. And I just feel that this is the time to separate yourself from Andy Reid. Everybody's talking about the Patriots. Everybody's talking about Green Bay Packers. Everybody's talking about like the Eagles and the Lions. No one's talking about the Chiefs. And watch the Chiefs fucking do it again. And if the Chiefs do it again, I just think that's the right time for you to separate yourself. You did everything that you can accomplish at a defensive coordinator position. Come back to the team that you wanted best in 2007 and be our head coach and get it right. I think Steve Spagnuolo, head coach for the Giants, is an absolutely major win. Dub 1,000 aura for the city and throw a parade if you get hired. Like that's how big he is as a name. I just think that I really want him as our head coach. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, I love the nostalgia, and I think I would like Spagnuolo here, but I'm going to give it a thumbs down only because I think he's made a Hall of Fame career as a defensive coordinator. He's had a couple of head coaching jobs and has been abysmal. I think just because his age, to me, I don't want to ageism him out, but I'm talking about if I have Dart here for the next decade, that guy's going to be like 73 by the time Dart is still cooking. So I would like a guy that can kind of age with my quarterback as he goes and not be an old curmudgeon. Now, I know that Pete Carroll has done it, but, to me, I don't know. I mean, if he comes in here, I'm not going to be like, oh, my God, I hate the thing. But I also am just giving a real take on – I'm just giving him a thumbs down just because I think his time has passed. And I think he should just stay where he's at right now as a defensive coordinator. Unless he's bringing over Andy Reid, I don't know if it's going to be as easy for him, and I don't want that to hurt his legacy if he fails here.
I got something for you before Mac makes his point because I think that'll kind of add to Mac's decision too. I have Lane Kiffin up here as a head coach, but we just seen Cliff Clary come over from Texas Tech and be a head coach for the Cardinals and not really worked out. I say right now, if someone like Lincoln Riley was to enter the league and he comes as an offensive coordinator, he'll be one of the top offense coordinators in football. I honestly think the same for Lane Kiffin. I think if he makes that move, he's a head coach from the Ole Miss. You know what I'm saying? He has experience. Brett Jackson Dort, and if he doesn't make that head coach to head coach jump, if he comes in and he becomes the Giants offensive coordinator and Steve Spagnuolo is our head coach, does that change your mind on Steve?
It doesn't. My mind's not changed on Steve Spagnuolo.
Go right ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
Steve Spagnuolo, I feel the same way about him as I feel about Cliff Kingsbury, man. I just think some guys are coordinators, some guys are head coaches, man. And I think you got to know your lane, man. And Steve Spagnuolo, once again, he's had a shot. He was a terrible head coach of the Rams. He had a shot as an interim head coach with us when we fired Joe Judge. He was the interim, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? Spags was the interim head coach with us. And granted, those were, once again, terrible football teams. And you're not inheriting a good football team here either. You know what I mean? So I just think some guys, you got to know where your lane is. Look at the guy, the old man from the Eagles years ago. What's his name? Jim Johnson? Is that what it was?
Yes.
The defensive coordinator? You know how many head coaching offers that guy was getting year in and year out, but he just knew to stay in his lane, man. He knew to stay in his lane.
That's the guy that's been coaching for like 60 fucking years, huh? He's still coaching.
Some guys just
I don't know.
Well,
I think I'm guy on the Bengals. Is that guy on the Bengals?
You got to ask yourself this question, though.
Go. Sorry. I interrupted Matt. Let Matt finish. I'm sorry.
No, I just think some guys just gotta know their lane, and I think Spags is just a good defensive mind, good defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach.
Well, my question is, he won. There's a couple Super Bowls he won. He's at the pinnacle of your sport, and he didn't leave then. I understand that he's earned it now, but usually look what happened with the Eagles. They won the Super Bowl in 2017, and Gannon and Shane Steichen both leave to go get head coaching jobs because guess what? The iron's hot because they won a Super Bowl. So he's had plenty of opportunities the last however many years. The Kansas City Chiefs have been to 5 Super Bowls or something like that in the last 6 or 7 years, and he's been the coordinator for all of them. So it's not like he can't. It's not like, to me, I would win at those times. They may not make the playoffs this year or be a deep run in the playoffs this year. We'll find out because this team is the Kansas City Chiefs. You never can count them out. But for me, I'm not saying I would be mad that the Giants hired him. I'm just saying I have to give him a thumbs down for me as a Giant coach. If he decides he wants to coach in another team he wants to come to, great. I just feel like that opportunity has come and gone, right?
Who to both of you guys? Spags would be fucking amazing. No, all right, I get the point. Okay, I want to bring up this fucking legend. Okay, this GOAT right here. This is the guy I thought you guys was talking about. And this guy denied head coaching jobs over and over again, and he's still fucking coaching for Tampa. Shout out to Tim fucking Moore. Okay, born in 1938, a consultant. He been in the fucking NFL for like 60 fucking years. The guy's 87 years old and still not a head coach. Okay, you got New Orleans Saints back in 1997. You can see his time before that, started going all the way back to the Minnesota, Pittsburgh Steelers, 1977, and he's the Tampa Bay from 2019 offensive coordinator, first-time Super Bowl champion. When I seen him on a Tampa Bay game this last week, and they're like, "Yo, this guy is like this years old." I'm like, and they're talking about all his greatness. I'm like, how the fuck did this guy be in the industry for 60, 70, 60 fucking years and never got a head coaching job? I was mind boggled, but obviously he denied. He got opportunities to coach a whole bunch. He just likes staying in his lane, and sometimes staying in your lane, you're gonna go in the Hall of Fame. And I guarantee you, when this guy is all said and done, Tim Moore is one of the best coaches in football, and I just think good on him. About to wrap this up here, guys, but we do see names like Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski is not on this list, but I truly believe, talking to some Pittsburgh Steelers fans around my area, they're tired. They're tired of just winning. They're tired of hitting the playoffs, losing a high draft pick, and then not making the Super Bowl. And 18 years is a great career. But sometimes we've seen it with Tom Brady. We've seen it with Bill Belichick. Shit just gets old. And it would not shock me if, again, that one and done with Aaron Rodgers, that the Steelers move on from Mike. That's a name that I would absolutely love just as much as I would love Spags. Another name is John. I can see the same thing with the Ravens. Shit just gets old and they just move on. So let's touch on Mike. Let's touch on John. Matt, go right ahead.
Mike Tomlin, like I said, I haven't been talking much about him because it's a decision that you got to wait for him to make. Because the Steelers are not going to fire or let Mike Tomlin go. Okay, that's not going to happen. So until Mike Tomlin decides to say that he's looking to go elsewhere, it's most likely he's not. You know what I mean? It's just there's a reason why the Steelers have only had 3 head coaches in their franchises. They don't just get rid of coaches, especially ones that win football games. So, and he does that. Mike Tomlin clearly wins football games. So that's why I haven't been talking much about him. But at the same time, if he were to become available, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm on board with that because he is a winner, and this team needs a winner. But there was I just got something on my phone just now, just to reassure like everybody. Like I said, they keep throwing Bill Belichick out there. He once again has made a statement, put out a statement. He has no interest in the New York Giants job. He has no interest in going back into the NFL. He's confirming that. He's confirming that. So people on the Bill Belichick train. Now, granted, a lot can still change from now until the end of the offseason or whatever, but come on, let's get off that train for right now until he becomes available, at least. At the very least. Let him become available.
Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, people complain about winning too much. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, we got to get rid of Mike Tomlin because what do? We win so much. Like, great coaches, everyone wants to get rid of them because they win football games. I mean, I'm sorry that the ebbs and flows of a team, goes up and down, right? The guy has had a winning record most of his years in the NFL. Okay, so the fact that you want to
every year in the NFL, every year
in the NFL, he's had a winning season, and we're like complaining about it. The New York Giant fan would be salivating at this shit right now. We've had a coach that has won 5 games in the last 20-something. Okay, like give me a break about this bullshit. If Mike Tomlin becomes available because the Steelers decide, and I agree with Mac, the Steelers won't fire him. They'll ask him to resign. Right? They'll say, you know what, we're not going to fire you, but we think you should step down, right? And we're going to give you the opportunity to step down. That's how I think they would phrase it. And if they want to keep it in the family and say, but I do have this cousin that has a job opening, I would tell him, you know what, I'd drive there, pick up Tomlin myself. I'd be a chauffeur. I'd go to Pittsburgh myself, say, Mr. Tomlin, you don't know who I am, but I know you, and I'm going to drive you to 1925 Drive in East Rutherford, New Jersey as your chauffeur because he is that great. If you want to throw him out because you're tired of winning, okay, well, then I'll gladly take him.
Well said. Alrighty. I think we should let's cover some of the younger guys. I know how we kind of already feel on first time head coaches, but I mean, like, it would be awkward not to talk about these candidates because they're doing absolutely awesome work as for their respectful teams. As they pull down on the list, I'll read them off. Obviously, we don't need to take our time to touch on Mike McDaniels, Dolphins head coach. Let's touch on Jesse Minter, Georgia's defensive coordinator. We got Joe Brady. A lot of people like him, Buffalo's offensive coordinator. And Clint Klubnik, I had it on Saints offensive coordinator, moved over to the Seahawks offensive coordinator. Any one of those names that you guys want? If anything, if I had to pick one, it'll probably be Clint. Due to as what he's doing with his team right now in Seattle, and has that offense looking great. But outside of that, I'm not really high on any of those names. I just wanted to mention them. Go right ahead, Mac. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, the thing is this: I would want Clint Kubiak just because he's an offensive guy, and his dad was a head coach with the Texans and with the Denver Broncos and things like that. So I would want him to be, that guy because at least I know, like Sean McVay, that
real fast, Adam. We did give a nice take on Marcus Freeman earlier in the episode. So after the episode bookends, go right ahead and rewind it, and we did get a good take on Marcus Freeman out of Notre Dame. Absolutely, go right ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
So Clint Kubiak works for me. If I wanted to, he'd be the only one out of that. Jesse Minter, while I like what he's doing in Seattle, I just need if he had head coaching experience in college, like the guy that I like, that I'm starting to get around because his name keeps coming up. Jeff Hafley with the Green Bay Packers, again a head coach with Boston College. To me, that would give me more, a little bit more interest in him because at least he had a chance to be a head coach somewhere, and I can at least use that, and he can explain to me, pulling guys. So, and I think Kubiak would have a good list of, candidates to pull for other other things. So I think that's why I would pick him. I do not want anything to do with Joe Brady. It's already bad enough we had one Buffalo guy come here. I don't need another Buffalo guy to come here and try to save what another Buffalo guy did. Joe Brady was a hot commodity in the coaching cycle. I understand. I know what he's doing with Josh Allen in that offense. But to me, I would stay away from him just because of Joe Shane.
Well said. Go right ahead, Mac.
Look, I mean, I'm not. My opinion just feels the same as it has been. Like I said, I think this New York team, this team needs experience, proven winner. At this point in time, like I said, only way I'm even really looking at any of these coordinators and new whatever guys are if we exhaust all our options with veteran, proven candidates. You know what I mean? That's just or how I feel about it. I'm standing on that because this team needs a leader, a proven leader. And I just don't want to take a flyer on a new guy. Not to say those guys don't deserve opportunities. I don't think the Giants are in position to take a flyer on some guy that you just not sure what you're really truly getting. That's all. So
well said. Well said.
Well
said. All right, guys, we have two final candidates to break down as we covered the list. And thank you for mentioning that guy out of Green Bay, Adam. I forgot to add him to the list as well. His name has been moving around town. That being said, the last candidates we do have, and I will think probably most likely the most likely to get the job is probably Mike McCartney. And another one is Mike McDaniels. I honestly, let's touch on McDaniels first, the Dolphins head coach. I don't think that's a good move on us. I would love it just because he's awesome and he's funny, but being awesome and funny doesn't translate to what this team needs right now. This team needs a guy like Mike McDaniels, someone that, sorry, not Mike McDaniels, Mike McCartney, someone that won a Super Bowl, someone that basically was 12-5 for 3 years with offensive with the Dallas Cowboys. His first year that he coached there, I believe Dak was hurt, and his last year he coached there, Dak was hurt. So if you take out his 5 years, the 3 years that Dak wasn't hurt, he went 12-5. So that's a guy that I fully believe he never really lost his team. And that's a guy that is basically puts us back into contender and where we should be in the right direction. I won't mind both of them. If I had to pick one, I'll probably go with McCartney just because of the experience and just because that's just kind of what we need right now. We need someone like Mike McCartney, whether you like him, whether you don't like him. We need someone like him to come in and to be honest, he's probably the betting favorite right now for the job. So that's how I feel about both candidates. But boy, would fucking press conferences be awesome with Mike McDaniels. But go right ahead, Adam. Go right ahead, Mac.
Look, I don't want Mike McDaniels. I'll let you know that. I'm cool on him. But McCarthy is interesting to me because he fits into what I'm talking about. Proven track record, proven winner. People have really have strong opinions about Mike McCarthy, but guess what this guy does as a head coach? He wins football games. That's what the New York Giants need, a coach who can win football games. And sure, he's got the one title in Green Bay, and he hasn't quite found that success again. But at the same time, Mike McCarthy has been a proven good quality head coach in this league, and it to me, he's the type of candidate the Giants need to really be pursuing hard and looking closely at. Those are the kind of candidates, people like him, guys like names like that, because this guy wins. He knows what it takes to get a football team prepared and win a football game, and I think we have some pieces that he can work with. I believe we do got a couple pieces that he can work with and have this offense cooking like they were in Dallas, like they used to in Green Bay. The offense is not even terrible right now, considering all things considered. Well, when Jackson Dart's out there anyway, the offense isn't so terrible. But look, I just think we need a proven guy, point blank and period, and McCarthy just fits that bill. So I'd be perfectly fine with that.
And before you go, Adam, that is a name that if he does have that interview, I say he can be that name to tell ownership, yeah, I'll take the job, And if he doesn't like Joe, he'll literally tell, yeah, I'll take the job, fire Joe Shane. Bring me a fucking GM that bring in my fucking people. Go right ahead, Adam. What's your thoughts on Mike?
Well,
Both Mikes.
with double mics, Mike McDaniels, he's funny, I guess, but that doesn't win you football games. I would love him as an offensive coordinator here to reestablish his value as a head coach. I think right now you need to give him a little bit of a break. But Mike McCarthy, he's like, to me, the break glass option for the Giants. If all their candidates that they decide to choose from aren't there, then McCarthy is the guy I think that comes in here and it's an easy peasy type of job, right? Because they interviewed him last time. They were bringing him in for a second interview to see if they wanted to make him the head coach. And of course, he had a foot fetish down in Dallas with Jerry Jones. And, next thing you know, he never left the building. But I do believe he would be at least a good program builder for the next coach. What I mean by that is like a Doug Collins, where you'll get to the playoffs a lot. You'll build a good team. He may not take you over the top, but then you get a nice new coordinator like a Mike Schuler or something like that who can come in and just take the team and go from there. That's what I would do. I mean, his history, he's the longest tenured in terms of like across the board in the NFL in terms of his knowledge. He's taken a year off. He's analyzed the game. I would love to know what his defensive coordinator would be, because that's his Achilles heel. And the other thing that he has a problem with is his teams have a lack of discipline, as they are one of the highest penalized teams in the league. Now with Green Bay, they weren't as penalized. They went 15-1 one year, and they lost to the Giants, who happened to be a better team that day than them. So the guy can coach football. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'd probably give it a thumbs up. At least I know we'd be a competitive football team and have a chance at least wild card spots with him.
Well said. And my only knock on Mike, because I agree, and I said my take on him. I would like him as a head coach to get it right, and like Max said, break the glass. But my only knock on him is he's almost as if like, can he translate his game to kind of mix in that younger game now, right? He's kind of still that tough old school football kind of guy, but it's almost like, hey, this game has, I'm not saying it's passed him by, but like that's why he was never able to just take it over the hump. And it kind of brings me to our last candidate on this list. A guy I kind of felt will be a fucking amazing hire for the New York Giants. And yes, he's kind of falls into that Marcus Freeman. He was never a head coach in the NFL, but he is and has been around football and is a great football mind. And he has experience with our quarterback, Jackson Dort. This Lane Kiffin. You bring him up from Old Miss. This is a guy that knows how to talk to the younger generation. He's been doing it for years. And you give him his quarterback that he had, Jackson Dort. I think you do this move for one reason, for your quarterback, for your franchise quarterback, Jackson Dort. I think if the Giants hire Lane Kiffin, I'm going to go on a limb. That's a statement. That's a statement move. And you be like, how does a statement? You didn't do anything. I think Lane Kiffin could be a good NFL coach. And I think I think Jackson Dort will be fucking jumping up for joy if his college coach joins him. I watch Old Miss games on Saturday, and every time they score a touchdown, they take the basketball and they dunk it on the sidelines. And even if it's a away game, they take the fucking hoop to the visitor sideline and they're dunking the balls, and just a fun culture there at Notre Dame. And that culture that you see in Jackson Dort came from Old Miss. That I'm just gonna go out there and ball. That's all fucking Lane Kiffin. So give me Lane Kiffin as a Giants head coach. He's one of my top candidates, and I would love him as a head coach. Go right ahead, Adam. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not. I like Lane Kiffin, but I'm not sure he's going to give up $64 million to come to New York. Especially, I see somebody in Mac's screen, I like what you're saying. I understand. I'm buying what you're selling. He has head coaching experience with the Raiders as well. But I just don't know if this is something. If he has a chance to go to LSU, then I think he'll do that over going to the Giants. Just because I think, I just think that
you ever say he'll pick LSU over the New York Football Giants again?
I'm just saying you can get $70 million from LSU, and you can only get about $40 million from the Giants. I'm taking an extra $30 million, the national title and everything like that. But That's what the last thing I'll say about Lane Kiffin is that it's not that I don't want him here or anything like that. I just think I don't know if he wants to be here and if that's going to be a viable option for us. I just think I'm not saying he doesn't ever want to come back to the NFL. My point is, if he was struggling with Ole Miss right now, right, and they were going to be like 5 or something like that in a bowl game or whatever, I could easily see him saying, you know what, I'm going to jump ship to New York, right? They're not a bad team, Ole Miss right now. They're like, what, 8 wins or something like that? So the
top team, yeah.
They'll be in the playoff hunt. So I think the only thing for him would be either to upgrade to like a LSU like program like that or go to the NFL, but I don't know if he would do that. But maybe the Giants entice him. But I agree with you, he would be a solid choice.
Well said. Go right ahead, Matt.
He scares me a little bit, but at the same time, that was the Raiders he was with back in the day. That when he had the whole situation. Yeah. See that from one standpoint, that's scary a little bit. Scares me away from him a little bit. But at the end of the day, that was a long time ago. He was a very young head coach for the NFL at that time, and maybe he was just way over his head anyway at that point in time in his career. So he's the kind of guy that I listen and see what he got to say and see if he's matured over his years, got a little wiser, which I would like to assume he has. But he has definitely done some good things down there at Ole Miss. And he'd be a guy I'd be open to consider. Like I said, but at the same time, I still stand on what I've been saying. Proven winner, proven success, proven somebody with a real track record at this level is more what I think the Giants need to really look forward, and go and focus on and really try to get in here, man, and bring in here. But he's a guy that's a little bit intriguing because I like over the years he may have developed and like I said and turned and matured himself in the right way that maybe he is ready to take this leap to being an NFL head coach. But he's a little somebody you gotta really vet him really well as far as I'm concerned. Just to, make sure his mind is right. Because even look for example, I'm sorry. Look for an example with Nick Saban. You know what I mean? This guy was a great college head coach. Great, all this guy, boom, boom, boom. Goes down there. Was it Miami? Or was it Miami that he just he did that bullshit, man? Like, because it just wasn't. It was over his head, man. It was sometimes these guys belong where sometimes you just gotta know where your lane is, man. And I don't know if Lane Kiffin is one of those kind of guys. That's why I'm kind of like, you gotta vet him real well and make sure his mind is really right and ready to be an NFL head coach before we would really make him a serious candidate. But Jackson Dart connection is all well good. That's all makes sense from that standpoint, absolutely. But he's just one of those careful guy like that.
Look at that smile! Don't you want him? Yeah, you guys are absolutely right. I think if he you vet him really well, and I just think he would be bomb. And I love the concern because we've seen it in recent years of high candidates coming in, Urban Meyer, and not really showing out. That being said, guys, that is probably going to do the show next week's episode.
Forgot about Urban Meyer. Jesus, I forgot about him.
He had a forgetful time in Jackson.
It is going to be recorded, so look out for it. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a show. It is going to be a luncheon. We're going to probably put it up on multiple channels for now, but if you're not already, go subscribe to Premium Takes official channel. Just type in Premium Takes up on YouTube. It should pop up. Make sure you guys go subscribe there. Next week, we'll basically break down more of this because obviously my news will come out, probably break down some NBA basketball, being that that's going down, and obviously we'll do our official picks. We'll get updated on everybody's standings, where everybody stands and now standings, and then we'll go ahead and pick some official picks. But before we leave today, I'm just gonna ask you guys: is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we head on?
I just want to say, no. Go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
No, I think we've covered it all. We had to talk specifically about the Giants because it's the biggest news happening, and we're all three of us four of us. Never forget Jeffy T. Are all Giant fans on this program, and so we had to bring it up.
Well said. Well
Yeah,
said. Go right ahead, Mac.
just gonna say, man, this weekend of football, man, you got a pretty good week ahead of us, and good Sunday coming up, man, ahead of us, man. Some good games on the slate, man. We're not really not don't talk about the games this week, but there's a couple some big time matchups here. Bills and Bucks coming off of big losses last week. Bears against the Vikings, looking to position themselves for a wild card spot. Seahawks and Rams, Lions and Eagles. There's some big time matchups this week, man. So enjoy football on Sunday. Even though we're Giant fans and we're not going to probably enjoy much, but we can enjoy football in general. You know what I mean? So just wanted to say that because I just happened to notice a slate of games this week. It's some couple of impressive matchups.
Fire.
Look forward to watching.
Fire. And like you said, I didn't really look at the slate due to I'm a Giants fan and you know, but I'm still gonna be watching football because football is awesome, man. You know, big UFC fights this weekend too. Make sure you guys check that out. And obviously, I think we're about to have the Golden State Warriors going against, I'm gonna say it, the MVP this season, Victor Wamba Yamba and the Spurs. So that's coming up on the NBA Cup.
He is
I
out of
the
this world.
so good.
He's out of this world.
Yeah,
crazy
don't even
work,
know the
man.
score on the Miami game right now, but I think the Knicks is fucking killing us. So New Yorkers, I know you guys
and
love
then
it.
I don't know, y'all don't watch college basketball. Tell me how much you watch college basketball. You seen that 7'9" kid down at the University of Florida? Yeah, he was like like a fucking giant, bro.
7 and 9,
7'9" freshman. Yeah, University of Florida, man. Yeah,
made in the lab. These kids are fucking made in the lab.
And he's
I
not
want
some
my
7'9".
7'9".
He's not some little bony 7'9" kid. He's got a little bulk on him, man. He's not like some little.
Can he play? That's all I ask. Can he play?
I mean, he's a freshman. He's coming along.
I'm just saying.
You know.
I've seen George.
What makes me think of that is like
7'7", not do shit in the NBA. Okay, I've seen Sean Bradley 7'6", not do shit in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like so.
Mobumba.
Skills.
I honestly say I'm gonna get going, not to drag this on, but I will say, man, watching Victor this year play, it's almost like he's fucking playing out there with kids, and these are the fucking NBA. Like he's just grabbing the rebound, throwing it in there. Like it's like, God, this guy's good. But yeah, let's get out of here, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Back over to you, Mac, to close out the show.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of the Premium Takes Podcast. I am Mac the Giants fan with my guys, Adam Costas, Zion Zenith, and as always, throw them fours up for the one and only NYG Jeffy T, always here with us in spirit, man. And we'll be back. Like you said, we got some new things going with the show, so we're not quite exact. I'm not exactly sure when you're gonna catch us again, but we'll be Premium Takes is coming back at you, man. It's gonna be, like you said, recorded from now on, and just try to, make the show a little bit better, improve the show a little bit for you guys, and do some good things, man. But we appreciate all of y'all. Please go out and subscribe to all our channels. Help continue our channels all to grow, and it don't take nothing to hit that subscribe button, hit the like for the streams, man, and just support the channels, man. We all out here working hard for y'all, man, and we appreciate y'all coming to the chat and contributing as well, man. No doubt indeed. And we'll be back, and we'll see y'all again, man, sometime soon. Pass.